Oregon doesn't have a ton of celebrities, do we? So when one of our celebrities considers to run for governor, it makes the news. No, not Dame, Nick, as in Nicholas Kristof, New York Times columnist, two-time Pulitzer Prize winner, best-selling author and political commentator who's traveled the world reporting on human rights abuses. He's one of the most respected names in journalism, and he's been on this show, which probably won't make the front page of his resume, but yeah, it's something. He was here promoting the book that he co-authored with his wife, Cheryl Woodon, that focused on the plight of his hometown, Yamhill. And that's where he is right now, on his family farm. But a guy like Kristof has more than one home. He splits time with New York, which he considered his primary residence when he voted there in 2020. And that is an important detail, because to run for governor of Oregon, you have to be a resident of Oregon for at least 3 years prior to the election, which is scheduled for 2022. Are you doing the math with me here? So Kristof has to prove that he's actually been a formal resident of the state since November 8th, 2019, despite that whole voting in New York thing. And to do that, he hired a law firm named Perkins Coie, which is not cheap, I've heard, to write a memo for Willamette Week explaining all of this. One of the lawyers who wrote it is Misha Isaac, who was Governor Kate Brown's general counsel until last year. So, big money, big names, connected people. Let's see what they came up with. They wrote a big, 15 pages long. This was their conclusion. Nicholas Kristof is an Oregonian. That is obvious. He grew up here. He is present here regularly. He owns and pays taxes on real property here. He has a bedroom here, which feels like an overshare, but I'll go on. He manages a farm and an agricultural business here. You know, it's really starting to sound like a decent argument, I would say. He has hiked the entire length of Oregon along the Pacific Crest Trail. That just kind of sounds like a flex, but okay. He sent his children to OMSI camps. I really feel like we're losing relevance here to being governor. He backpacked around Mount Hood, and now we're just saying stuff that people do when they come here. He's eaten at Moe's in Lincoln City. What are we talking about? I feel like they just are getting to the point in that where they're listing random things. Mr. Kristof uses Tillamook cheese when he makes nachos. He's watched between 3 and 5 episodes of Grant's Getaway. And by the way, if going to Moe's in Lincoln City is a prereq for governor, start printing my buttons. And unlike Kristof, I have video evidence, and I went with Laurel Porter. Talk about a flex. Also, just to prove to you that I'm a straight shooter, I'm coming in with a hot take. The clam chowder is underwhelming. Sorry, but it's true, and that's what my campaign is going to be about. Honesty. What's that? I went to the Moe's in Cannon Beach. Well, that changes everything. And the Moe's argument probably won't help Kristof much either, at least according to an elections lawyer interviewed by Willamette Week after they broke the story. He said some observers are skeptical that Kristof qualifies. To vote in New York, which he did, a person must attest, i.e. swear under penalty of perjury, to be a resident of New York. In November 2020, Mr. Kristof attested that his permanent and principal home was in New York. But Kristof's legal team, they have a plan for that by basically calling into question the definition of the word resident, writing residence means several different things in law, and I can tell at this point, I'm probably losing you, right? So you're wondering, Dan, can you just cut to the chase? Does any of this matter? Will this timeline matter? Well, it might. I mean, if he does decide to run, and it looks like he's leaning in that direction, he will have opponents. And if someone challenges his status, it will go to court. And hopefully for Kristof, the judge identifies with Moe's and hiking. As far as those opponents and who they might be, on the Republican side, a lot of people have declared. Former candidate Bud Pierce, the mayor of Baker City, Carrie McQuiston, and several others. You see them all listed there on the screen, and I'm sure we'll get more as we approach the election. As for the Democratic side of things, only one person is formally declared. That's Yamhill County Commissioner Casey Kula. But a lot of other big names have been floating around, like Multnomah County Commissioner Deborah Kafoury, Speaker of the House Tina Kotek, State Treasurer Tobias Reed, and Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum, just to name a few.